the tour of the New York Fed was freaking cool, right? You can't take pictures, but with my steel trap mind, I memorized the whole layout. Mission impossible here. No. Anyhow, so I'll describe the tour in my experience. So outside, right, they do have their own security force. It says Federal Reserve on the security force. And the guy I spoke to outside was a retired NYPD. Right? He's a police officer for 20 years. I was talking to him. I asked him how long he worked for the Fed for. He said about 3.5 years. He had his gun. He's like all ready and stuff. And they have their own security force. And interestingly enough, I'm on the tour. The tour guide told us that the Federal Reserve has their own indoor shooting range, where their security force keeps their shooting skills sharpened on a regular basis. And I was hoping to see the shooting range, but they didn't take us to the shooting range. So, the security force there. So the building itself is based upon a Renaissance castle. It's like a huge kind of stone building with these giant stone-looking bricks made out of it on the outside. In the inside, one of my YouTube friends who was on the tour remarked how it looks like Lex Luthor's hideout from Superman 1 in the 70s. The first Superman movie, Lex Luthor, he had that hideout in the depths of New York City, the giant dome, stone. That's what it looked like. It was a really cool looking building. So we got in there, and it was like the airport. You had to put your stuff on a belt to the scanner, and then you walk through a metal detector and whatnot. But after the tour, we went to the Federal Cafe to eat because we wanted a place for lunch, and said, of course you gotta eat the Federal Cafe next to the Federal Reserve. So one guy on our YouTuber, he says, "Look what I got through the security," and he pulls out this thing and unfolds it. It's got pliers in the middle. It's like one of these kind of Swiss Army tool things that's really big, and it had like a knife like this big. So he brought like a knife like this big right through the security. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, security is a farce. I bring this knife everywhere and through all the security, and they never catch it. Well, what it was it looked like a tool, right? And you unfold it, and there's like a knife. And I don't recommend to my viewers to try this yourself because, he says he gets it through all the time security, but like with these Federal Reserve officers or whatever, they were kind of pretty serious people. But anyhow, so we go through the security. And there's like a little museum in there. Have like a kids museum where you have like you have like displays where you can touch stuff and listen to phone and you flip through things. There's some cartoony stuff. They have little quizzes and they ask you questions about the dollar bills and whatnot. A kind of a neat little thing you can go through, and that's like a self-guided tour. And there's the real tour. So the real tour guy was this guy, and one of my friends on our group was pretty funny. He goes, it reminded him of like a fembot. The guys are kind of mechanical, and he never cracked a smile, and he kind of spoke mechanically, but he was very knowledgeable, answered a lot of questions. The first thing he said on the tour, right in front of the seals, or walking through the seal on the door said, Federal Reserve Incorporated. He goes. All of you might not know, but the Federal Reserve is not a part of the government. We are a private institution. He goes, we're a nonprofit, and he explains how that any profits the Federal Reserve makes goes to the U.S. Treasury. Like last year, the Federal Reserve, how they had like bought some stuff from like AIG, and they saved AIG, and then they sold it in the market, and the Federal Reserve made billions of dollars for the U.S. government last year. So a lot of people are saying like end the Fed, but the politicians, because they're getting billions of dollars from the Fed to them, are probably not likely to want to end something that's a cash cow for them because they get billions from the Fed. Now, I do realize that if the Fed buys some toxic assets from a bank and sells it into the market, and someone in the market now has toxic assets, I mean, I don't know if the assets are toxic, but I mean, essentially, the Fed makes trades, and they're pretty good at making trades. They make billions of dollars in trades. So I would hope there'd be good. I would hope the Fed would be a great trader, considering, that they're the but what they do and who they are. They better be great traders. But yeah, the Fed has made billions of dollars for the U.S. government last year. So, but the Fed does have expenses, and so it's like, they say after expenses, we return the money to the U.S. government. So, of course, I wanted to ask him, well, how much money is everybody making? What are these expenses? But I didn't have time to do that. And a couple guys in my group had some really good questions to the Fed tour guide, and sometimes he looked a bit nervous with these questions. I'm sure he has people all the time, grill him, and he's, This guy was kind of younger. Maybe he's not used to being grilled. I don't know. But so when we went down to the vault, it's like 5 levels underground. It's like a James Bond movie or Mission Impossible, going through these rooms and the security and the doors. It felt like, I was the Bourne Identity or something. So we're going down here, right? So we go down in the depths of the bowels of whatever, the city, right? So we're going down there, and we see a little movie about the gold, and it was kind of a funny movie, but the guy doing the tour in the movie, it was not anti-gold at all. It was very gold neutral, in my opinion. And I asked the guy, I said, listen, they explained Bretton Woods and gold and whatnot, and I said, listen, if gold is no longer money, why do the central banks bother holding it? He goes, well, because it's an asset that has value, and the price is going up, and it might keep going up. So that's what he says. All right, good answer. That's a good answer, because he never said, he never bashed gold. He said the price of gold might go up. We hold gold as an asset. So I thought that was, interesting. So he gets us into the vault, and there's this giant kind of rotating door or whatever. It was really cool. It's like, James Bond movie. So we go in to the lockers. So you see the gold storage facilities. It's like half the size of a football field, and they have all these like cages, like it's like a zoo, a combination between a zoo and a gym locker. These things, these blue bars, whatever, and you see gold. We saw there these gold things stacked up. Each gold brick was about $500,000 of value. There's this giant mechanical scale that like 100 years old. There's a big scale where every time they move gold from one locker to another or one room to another, whatever it is, they have to weigh the gold. And this giant scale is accurate to like a grain of rice of a weight. So it's a pretty impressive giant scale. And he's showing us dents in the floor where people drop the bars, and you see dents in the floor from the bars dropping. And so one of my friends on the tour asked him about, hey, there's rumors that there's tungsten-filled gold bars. What do you think about that? And the guy goes, well, as most of the gold down here is not America's gold. And the New York Fed, over 90% of the gold is for foreign countries' gold that the Fed is holding for them. And he explained how these foreign countries were so happy the Fed wants to hold it because it's such a secure building, right? So, well, he didn't say happy, but he was like saying, oh yeah, this is such a secure building. The countries here, it's so great for us to hold their gold, right? So, but he goes, well, in regards to your rumor about like tungsten and gold, it's our job to hold the bars and make sure they're safe, but it's not our job to test the bars. That's what he said, something to that effect, right? I thought that was interesting. So yeah, we went back upstairs, and we finished the tour off, saw another little movie and whatnot. So yeah, it was really cool to meet these YouTubers in person. They're really great people. We I didn't until 9 o'clock at night, 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We're talking, and we went to the Federal Cafe, and then we went to some bar afterwards. Really good group of people, a really good conversations, and I could spend, if I did one big video, it'd be a giant YouTube video of like for hours and hours. We talked about all kinds of topics. It was great. And maybe in my next video, I'll talk more about this stuff, but I'm just getting to you a brief overview of the tour. Thank you.